I'm excited to have with me as my guest world-renowned musician David Sancious. He was inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame in 2014. He was original member of Bruce Springsteen on E Street Band, and he toured and performed with Sting, Seal, Eric Clapton, to name a few. And he's here today to talk about his new album, his 10th album, Eyes Wide Open. Welcome, David.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
You're multi-talented. And so how do you maintain your stamina, David? You live in a beautiful place, Hawaii.
Yeah, that helps. That helps a lot. Yeah. You know, it's hard, actually. I'm having some issues physically right now. I don't know if you see this bandage on my hand.
Yeah, I was going to.
I had hand surgery last week. I had a condition called trigger finger. And I've been dealing with it for the last couple of years, sort of not very successfully. It got too painful. So surgery was the only final option. So I did that. And, but in terms of how I keep myself together, I mean, my wife and I, we cycle. You try and have some kind of routine of exercise and like getting outside and, you know, getting away from the computer and away from all that kind of stuff for a while. But to be honest with you, I struggle with it sometimes, you know, like today I'm having a bit of a hard time. I can't cycle because of that hand thing. I can't go in the ocean. I'd be on the beach right now, you know. But it's about the combination of trying to continue with your work ideas, but also not distracting yourself, but not letting yourself get too caught up in all the stress of it. Because it is quite stressful. I mean, it's a big unknown for a lot of people. Like, you know, I don't know exactly when I'm going to play again. But I have a project with Will Calhoun called Open Secret, which is a duo project. Will Calhoun from Living Colour, the percussionist from Living Colour. Okay. We started a couple of years ago, and we did a tour of the East Coast. I think we did that in 2019. So there's going to be a live album coming out from that project, probably maybe spring of next year. But yeah, we're all just really not waiting, because if you just sit around and wait for this, you really will go nuts. I mean, I have several projects creatively that I'm engaged in just to keep it together. But it depends. And this is one of these things where this shows how we're all connected. You know, it's not just like this pandemic thing has affected one industry or two industries, or it's affected everyone throughout the whole society. You know, the airline industry, restaurants, concerts, the entertainment industries. Wow, I forget it. We are so in such a really tough spot. And, you know, I think about the people. There's businesses in town here, like restaurants and small shops, that were really sort of vibrant and happening back in January when we got here. And we've been here for a long time before. I was here in 2013 for a month-long vacation. So we know the area that when it's not strange. But there's places that have closed up now that are not going to reopen. You know, people have lost their leases, and it's a real mess, you know, so.
Yes. Yeah, and you were in Canada. You were in Kelowna, and I think in 2013, and
yeah, with Sting. Yeah.
And I understand you love yoga. Is that right? Like, and I was thinking, you know, that's good for meditation and.
Yep. Yeah, yoga. In '91, when I started working with Sting, he had an occasion to give me a lesson with the person who taught him yoga. And then the person it was like August, I remember the date, it was August 1st, 1991, at the Plaza Hotel in New York City. And he organized a lesson for me with his yoga teacher, which came a few lessons. And then I've been doing it ever since. So that's, you know, normally. I can't do yoga just now because of the hand situation. I have to wait for a couple of weeks. But yeah, that's a part of it. Yoga, cycling, tennis. My wife and I like to play tennis together, but there won't be any tennis for a while. Same thing. But normally a combination of that kind of physical activity and trying as the best you can to create. You know?
And David, your influence was Jimi Hendrix, right? Can you tell us, was it your brother bringing home an album to you? And so tell us about that.
Oh, my older brother.
Yes.
One day, Edward, he brought home this album. We were in high school together, like 3 years apart. I was a freshman, he was a junior then. And I'd already been playing guitar, but I was playing folk music. I really like folk music, like Dylan and Richie Havens and all that kind of thing. So I was beginning to learn to play guitar. And my brother brings home Are You Experienced, the first Hendrix album, and he drops the needle on this thing, and all these sounds are coming out. Wow, what's he doing? He goes, he's playing guitar. He goes, how come my guitar doesn't sound like that? Because he's playing an electric guitar, and you don't have that, which set me off on a whole other, journey, which, became what it is. But that was a revelation, an amazing day. The first time I heard Jimi Hendrix.
Yeah, so you grew up in a musical family, right? Your mom played piano. She taught you piano.
My mom taught me for a year. She didn't play. None of my family were professional musically, except my oldest brother. Towards the end of his life, he passed away around Christmas time last year. But my mom was a school teacher by profession. My dad was an electronics engineer. But they all were very musical in their tastes. They're big music fans, and they all had a different taste in music, And my mom, when she was younger, had studied piano quite a lot and played very well. So she taught me for a year, and then she got lessons for me with a really good kind of virtuoso pianist named James Connell at the time.
Yeah. So that's wonderful. And I mean, so you went, were you surprised by your mom playing piano? Like, was this
shock? Yeah, I didn't know she could do it, really. I didn't really know she could do it until we moved from Asbury Park to Belmar. It was 8 miles away. We moved into a bigger house. And part of the sale of the house was that there was this, this upright piano that the owners didn't want to take with them. So they just, And we walked into the house, and I was 6 years old. I had my little toy box, and I'd walk in there, and she'd gotten ahead of me, sat down, and started playing this thing, like, beautiful. I mean, started playing Beethoven and Chopin and all this beautiful music. And I just used to sit on the steps and watch her, like, for hours, And that's really how the whole thing got started.
Yeah. So, David, you grew up with like all genres of music, from folk, jazz, classical. I mean, what an extraordinary, childhood professional that you are. Tell us, the viewers, when you met Bruce Springsteen, the very first time.
Very first time I met Bruce, I was about 15 years old. I had quit high school against everybody's recommendation, my parents chiefly, but I had decided I was going to do this thing. And I was just trying to play everywhere I could, I had a little job in a guitar factory, actually in Neptune, New Jersey, the Dan Electro Guitar Factory. But I was just then trying to go anywhere where I could play with other musicians and try and get into the scene. So I went to Asbury Park one night, and as I'm walking up the steps, at the top of the stairs was Gary Talent standing next to Bruce. And Gary and I had done a recording session a few weeks before for someone. I don't even remember who it was for. But we had met in this in a recording studio and exchanged numbers and hit it off. So I walk up to the steps, and Gary and Bruce are standing there, and they're organizing a jam session that's going to start up in about 15, 20 minutes. So Gary introduces me to Bruce to shake his hand and say, hey. He asks me, he says, we're going to organize a jam session. Would you like to play in it? And I said, sure. And a few minutes later, we get up on stage, and I think it was at least like maybe 3 hours or more before we got off stage. And that was the first beginning of like meeting him and playing with him. And then he told me later that night, we were really leaving the place, he said he was going to break up. He was going to stop the band that he was in. He was already in kind of locally very popular band. But he said, look, I'm thinking of stopping that, and I'm going to start up something new. Would you be interested in, and being in the band? And I said, absolutely. Yeah. So when that was really it.
Yes. And you're the only band member that lived on E Street. Is that right?
Yes, that is true.
Wow. I mean, tell us some memorable moments for you. Like, I understand that I've read, I should say, that you were on a 747, you had pillow fights. Like, tell us some funny moments.
Oh, someone asked me, I think it was in a Rolling Stone interview a little while back. We were talking about the Amnesty International tour. I think the second one, the one that had Bruce and Sting, and Peter Gabriel and Tracy Chapman and Yusu Endure. I think it was, oh God, what was yours? 88. There we go. Thank you. Somewhere there. Yeah, and it just developed one day, as we landed, the plane would always erupt into a pillow fight.
Wow.
It was like 4 bands worth of people. It was a lot of, like, I don't know, 30 or more people on this thing. And it was just a funny thing that used to happen. They tried to discourage it, I got to say, to the pilot, said, please, sit down and strap yourselves in, we're landing. And it would just erupt into kind of a big pillow fight, which was good fun. Nobody ever got hurt. It was all safe. No damage to anybody.
And what has the feedback been like?
About the music?
Yeah.
It's been incredible. It's been really incredible. Very positive, very positive.
Right.
People like yourself are sort of seeing the sort of bigger picture in it, and how unfortunately relevant it is, but it's been incredibly positive. I'm very happy about it.
Yes. And
whatever
I mean,
attention it's getting.
and to purchase the album, go to your website, and it's available everywhere, like on social, right? So
it is. Well, the thing where it's not supposed to be available is we found that someone's posted it on YouTube without permission. It's not it's not supposed to be there right now, but it is on the other sites. It's on Apple Music, it's on Amazon, it's on Bandcamp, and it's on a site called The Orchard, Headstrong Media. It's on multiple streaming sites. Yeah.
That's
so
wonderful.
we're trying to deal with having it not be on YouTube for free just yet.
Yeah. So what is coming up for you? Any new projects?
Well, there was a couple of projects that got put on hold because of this whole, COVID, we can't go anywhere situation.
Mm-hmm.
I was supposed to be on tour in Europe right now, actually, with an Italian singer named Zucchero, who I've worked with for many years. But that's totally off now. And I don't know when the kind of scale of projects that we normally would do are going to be able again, because we can't mount a concert tour, until you can fly from country to country without a quarantine. Mm-hmm. And until the United States is actually banned from people's airspace. You can't just come into any country right now because of the situation that we have over here in our country. You sort of can't just get up and go anywhere like you can. Mm-hmm. So I don't know. It depends on other industries coming back. At first, it's going to depend on the airline industry coming back, yes, which won't come back until the quarantine situation is over. And so it's like a domino effect. But I think technically, realistically, I don't see much of anything happening for the rest of this year. And maybe, maybe it's the middle of next year, people can begin to sort of try and restructure things. But it's probably going to be like 2022 until things really open up and people feel safe sitting in theaters and stadiums, and concert halls.
Yes, but I mean, it's like I said before, the interview is temporary, right? But yes, and being a multi-talented as you are, with your skill set, is allowed you to work with many bands, performers, record with other people. Can you tell us about some of your other people that you've worked with? Like I mentioned Sting, but like Eric Clapton, for example.
I had a great time working with Eric Clapton. I did one world tour with him in 2001. And it was a year long. It was great. It started in January and ended in December. And we had breaks, and it was a proper world tour. We did every territory. We did Europe, America, South America, Asia. And it was a great band that he put together with Nathan East and Steve Gadd, Andy Fairweather Lowe, Eric, myself, and Billy Preston also, the great Billy Preston.
Mm.
He was able to do part of that tour with us. He was meant to do the whole tour, but he had some legal issues with that, didn't allow him to leave the country. But when we got to America, he joined in, and that was great. And what I'm really happy about that time of working with Eric, because Eric was one of the influences on me of playing guitar as well. I mean, my three favorite guitar players when I was trying to get it together were Jimi Hendrix, Eric Clapton, and Jeff Beck. Stop. Wow. Yeah. So, and Cream was one of my favorite bands of all time, you know, when I was, you know, that in that period. So getting to work with him was really great, but I'm really happy that there's a live album. There's a document of that whole project. It's a double album called, it's alive. It's called One More Car, One More Rider, or something like that. But it's a double album live, and it's fantastic. It's got a whole document of all the best shows from all over the world. And yeah.
Yes. Wow. David, is there anything else you'd like to add?
I would like to add, I'd like to just do my civic bit and encourage everyone who can vote in the United States of America. Early voting has started in some states and some regions. I encourage everyone to please vote and be a part of helping to save this country, to save and preserve the democracy in this country and not let it turn into some fascist state like the Chinese Communist government. So vote, encourage your friends to vote, help somebody vote, do what you can, but please do it. Don't be silent, and don't let people think that your vote doesn't count. Your voice matters, so use it while you still can.
Thank you very much, David, for your time. It was such a pleasure speaking with you.
Hey, it's not okay. You will not believe what some people say. Up is down, the sky is on the ground. Shoot you in the back is the name of a town somewhere in America. Keep your eyes wide open. Keep your heart wide open. Keep your eyes wide open so you can really see it. open. You will not believe what some people say. Keep your eyes wide open so you can really see. Hey, it's not okay. At 5 o'clock in the morning, man. Can't sleep. How's this gonna happen? Can't believe I'm in this situation. Always some mathematics and can't make it work. Brother needs a job. Damn. Come on. Oh, woe is we. Such a strange society. I bow my head and bend my knee. In the middle of the night, I don't sleep so well. Refugees and immigrants, politicians and presidents, making laws that make no sense. In the middle of the night, we don't